This is reckless.
Ready for the fight. Noble hearts and steadfast pride. Detroit spirit, we wear it white. Feel the drive, hear the crowds embrace. Locked on Detroit Lions will rise. With a heart full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our own. In the home of the brave, we'll proudly have grown. In the city, where the roar meets the night, the Lions charge, ready for the fight. Noble hearts and steadfast pride. Detroit spirit, we wear it white. Feel the drive, hear the crowds embrace. Rocked on Detroit Lions will rise. Rocked on Detroit Lions will rise. With a heart full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our own. In the home of the brave, we'll proudly have grown. With every game, we rise and unite. Fueling the passion, igniting the light. Through highs and lows, we'll stand as one. Our legacy, a tale that's just begun. Together we roar, together we roar. Detroit Lions will rise. With a heart full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our own. In the home of the brave, we'll proudly have grown. So let's lift our voices, let's turn it up loud. For the love of the Lions, we'll always be proud.
All righty. Good morning and welcome to the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Hope everyone's having a good Tuesday morning. Let's get it kicked off this morning. So listen, if you guys have not made us one of your sources for Lions news and rumors, this is your chance to hit that subscribe button. We had over 70 people hit the button yesterday. We have eclipsed 7,000 subscribers now in the month of December. So that means we're going to have a pop-up for a Lions mini helmet. It'll be a Panay Sewell this time. And appreciate you guys doing that yesterday. So we had a pretty good video that made some traction yesterday, earned us a bunch of subscribers, and they had a lot to say, a lot of comments, and I'm going to highlight one of them today. So do us a favor, hit that like button. Want to get ads off, we got to get likes at least to 60 this morning. And then, of course, turn those notifications on so you know when we have the pop-up, so you're in the running for that pop-up helmet giveaway. Secondly, we got to hit 10K. So that means you got to help us here. Got to share this stream to all your Lions fans, friends, foes, whomever. Eric, good morning. How are we this morning?
Fantastic. Living life in the snow globe. Just does not quit snowing up here. Ever. Ever.
We haven't had any snow the last, 48 hours or so.
My God. It just doesn't stop.
We had rain.
I can't. Well, we got a little bit of rain yesterday too to go on top of the snow, make it all crusty, and now it's coming down big giant flakes.
Yeah, it's never fun. You know, as much as I used to love the winter, I'm not a big fan of winter. I loved watching my son Christian go, ski and stuff like that, but outside of that, snow is just not for me anymore. So let's get it tipped off right away with some NFL news from around the league. And I think that's a good place to start because right now, according to this, we all know what's happening. The Detroit Lions are tied for the best record in football right now. They have found themselves tied with the Kansas City Chiefs for the best record in the National Football League heading into the Sunday showdown versus the Buffalo Bills at 4:25 p.m. at Ford Field. Josh Allen, James Cook, and the Bills are the only team to defeat the Kansas City Chiefs this season. Anything you'd like to add to this, dynamic that we're heading into, watching the Buffalo Bills game and versus the Rams the other day? I think there's a lot of good takeaways from this. I think that they exposed the Bills in a lot of good ways. But at the same time, when I get to a segment here in a little bit, you're going to hear some things that makes this probably the best matchup for both teams that has happened yet this season. So interesting that the Lions are tied for number one. And I don't believe Kansas City really belongs here right now. They've won too many close games. I always feel like they're just, a ball bouncing the wrong way from losing a game every week. And I'm really not worried about Kansas City. I was listening to a guy this morning, and he was saying that Patrick Mahomes is the slowest. How did he put it? He said he was the slowest dual threat quarterback. He just looks like he's running in slow motion, but he evades everybody. It just doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. I guess there's something to that too. But what do you got to say about it, Eric? We're tied for number one.
Yeah, we're tied for number one. And I think that it all boils down to this game with the Bills this weekend. I'm thinking that it's going to take quite a bit to win this game, but I think the Lions come out ahead. The Lions have a better running game than the Bills. And we have a secret weapon that no one talks about, and that is Jared Goff. He could go off on this game. He could literally have more passing yards than Josh Allen, excuse me. And as far as the Kansas City Chiefs being frauds, I'm going to say this. A win is a win until it isn't.
It's true.
Yep.
It is very true. And I'm hoping that we go to 13-1. I'm really hoping it happens. The Lions got a slim margin right now that they are favored by, I think, 1.5 points.
Yes.
And typically you get 3 just for being the home team. So I think that tells you something. And again, when I get to a segment here in a little bit, talking about the matchup, I think that this is probably going to be the best game of the season. I think the Thursday night Packers game was the best game of the season so far, but I want to say that this weekend's game is not only going to be electric, but it might be the best game of the season. It could be a shootout between both teams. It could be. But I won't give that final analysis, like I do each week. I'll probably do that on Friday. So sticking with NFL news, here's a fun fact that's not so fun about this game or about these two teams. The Lions have not beaten the Bills since October of 2006. And that was when John Kitna and J.P. Lossman both took snaps under center for both teams, respectively, at quarterback. Now, Detroit has lost 4 straight in this series, including 2022's matchup when Josh Allen and the Bills beat Jared Goff in a very close game, 28-25, and that was at Ford Field. So, fun fact that's not so fun, but you know what the Lions are good at? Tearing down walls, beating records, setting franchise records, NFL records, and they're not scared of anybody. They're not scared of anything. They will run through brick walls like they have been all season. So this is just another record that's just going to have to be broken this Sunday. Next up, I'd like to talk about the Rams for just a moment here. Now, I was going to do a video of this last week and just kind of scare everybody a little bit, but kind of saved it to see what was going to happen this weekend. There's a real possibility that the Rams could find their way into the postseason. And if they do, again, there's another opportunity that the Rams could be finding their way back to Ford Field in a divisional round game potential that the Rams, Matt Stafford and Jared Goff go at it again. And I'm telling you this from the bottom of my heart because I'm not scared of any team, never have been. It is extremely difficult to beat a team 3 times in a row. Extremely difficult. And we've seen both of these matchups have been tight. It is so hard. We've seen it with the Bucs, right? The 3rd time they got us in a close game, but they got us. And it's kind of like when you go up against a divisional opponent year after year after year after year, you know them really well. So right now the Rams are almost like a divisional opponent to us. This would be the third matchup. But the Bucs could do it too. They have an opportunity to find their way in. And the funny thing is it's the same scenario, except this would be the fourth time that the Bucs take on the Lions in 2 seasons. Now that game, I'm a little bit more hesitant to say that the Bucs would be doing anything, to get an edge over the Lions. I think the Lions will win that game. But the Rams and what Puka Nacua is doing right now and what they did this weekend, let me just give you a couple of highlights here. Puka Nacua is the first NFL player to ever record 12 receptions, 150 receiving yards, both a rushing and receiving touchdown in a single game. Additionally, he became the second player in NFL history with at least 150 receptions, 2,000 receiving yards, and 7 touchdowns in a player's first 25 games, according to the Rams anyway, and their PR team. So if you think that the Rams are a bunch of nobodies right now because of their record, Puka's healthy. And a healthy Puka with Matthew Stafford's arm is, in my opinion, just a tornado waiting to happen at Ford Field. I don't want to see it again. Tom Brady gave him a bunch of compliments, ton of compliments. So I feel like this is a matchup that we don't want, but at the same time, I ain't scared. Eric, what do you think?
If you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. And that is what I'm going to say about having to play the Bills or Kansas City or whoever it is. I don't care if it's the Rams again. I don't care if it's the Bucs again. If we have to play someone a third time, I look something up. So 21 times, teams that played twice in the regular season have went on to have to play a team a third time in the playoffs. In 6 of those times, the team that got beat went on to win. So that means 15 times the team that beat them twice during the regular season won all 3. So there's more of a chance of you beating them a third time than there is a chance of you losing, as far as history goes in the NFL anyway. I think it was either 20 or 21 times it's happened. And I want to say 14 times that the team swept all 3. So it's almost a 2-to-1 ratio that the team that beat them twice in the regular season also beats them in the playoffs. So I'm not scared. Bring on the Packers, bring on the Bucs, bring on the Rams. Those are the teams we're going to have to play in the playoffs. Bring them on. Let's go. Those are some of my favorite teams to play.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, a matchup nightmare in the postseason. No matter who we poll, I think that there's a clear separation this season of the teams that are good, the teams that are great, the teams that are bad. There's a big defining line. You've got like 4 or 5 teams that are really good. Maybe 5. I think there's 4, but maybe 5. And those are the teams that are going to last throughout the postseason. And the Lions are going to have to take, they're going to get their shots. And they're going to get their best football from all of these teams. And they're going to have to be healthy. And we're going to get into the health of this team in just a moment. Quick shout out in the chat and quick shout out on Twitter too. So big time supporter of the channel and Rocked On Cancer Foundation, Casey Bright, responded to somebody in Twitter and was telling them that they got to try the coffee, the Honolulu Blue Brew Triumph coffee. And I saw it this morning, posted back, and they immediately bought it. So big shout out to you for buying the coffee. And I seen some other people talking about the coffee this morning. If you guys have received your coffee, it would be great if you guys could help us out. I think you can put reviews on Buy Me a Coffee, but if you've tasted it and you love it or you don't, just give us your honest opinion and tell us what you're thinking, whether you can do, reviews on Buy Me a Coffee or on Twitter or wherever else. I don't know where you can do the reviews yet. I haven't gotten it set up because it's not set up through a website. But we'd love to hear back of what you guys think of the coffee. And of course, get some for your coffee lovers. I know it's good, but I'm trying to be humble here. I know it's really good. And big shout out to James Howarth this morning. He says he absolutely loves this chat room. You're all amazing people. You make my day every day. Thank you all. And I think that's just a perfect way to describe this chat room, man. They're all great people. This is the best community out there for Lions fans. I'm not throwing shade at anybody else, but I truly believe this is the best community of Lions fans out there. So that is all your hard work. And in the chat mods and everybody else, you know, for dealing with the riffraff that we just don't have. We just don't have riffraff in this chat room and in part of this channel. So I think it's a big thank you to everybody this morning that has done so much work and helped us out. All it, you know, the blessings of their own heart. They didn't have to do it. They just did it to be kind. So I thank you. You guys have been great. So next up, overreaction. I have a little overreaction to talk about. And then Eric, I think you have overreaction Monday on a Tuesday, right? So I was listening to Rich Eisen and they brought up a topic that I thought, wow, that just floored me. I didn't even think about this. So overreaction on the Minnesota Vikings, that they extend Sam Darnold and they trade J.J. McCarthy to a quarterback needy team prior to the draft for a rash of draft picks. I started thinking about it and I'm like, kind of makes sense. You can't let Sam Darnold go after what he's done this season. And I get it, you know, to all the U of M lackeys or the U of M fans, and Rich had said the same thing. He said, look, you know, I'm a Michigan fan, right? I appreciate J.J. McCarthy, but he was kind of in the boat of it's not an overreaction. It could possibly happen. Sam Darnold's playing elite level football right now. He has completely turned around that franchise. And what he did to Kirk Cousins and the way Kirk Cousins has been playing, I mean, I think he's got like 8 interceptions over the last 4 games. It was the right move. So over under reaction to you, Eric, what do you think?
Well, let's see something here. Sam Darnold has faced the Atlanta Falcons, the Arizona Cardinals, the Chicago Bears, the Titans, the Jaguars, and the Colts. That's their little winning streak right now. Not one. Well, okay, the Cardinals are the only winning team out of all of them. The rest of them have a losing record as of right now. And then before that, they played the Rams, who they lost to by 10, and the Lions, who they lost to. So the 2 good teams they've played this year, they lost to. And Sam Darnold didn't look the best against those 2 teams. The rest of the teams he's played have been all bottom tier teams. No playoff teams in the mix, maybe the Cardinals. So I'm going to say they need to pump the brakes a little bit on Sam Darnold, because I think a lot of his stats are pumped up because he's playing a lot of lower tier teams.
Okay. So you think it's an overreaction?
Yes.
And I don't. I don't. I'm with Rich on this one. And I'm not going to say that just because they haven't had the best schedule. You know how difficult it is to only have 2 losses in an NFL season this deep into the season? Extremely difficult. Not many teams do it. And I think that is in the comeback wins. And I think that is the bigger, I think that's the bigger scenario here, that look at what he's doing. Look what they did in the 4th quarter. 3 touchdowns. I think that's the bigger reason why you have to take a hard look at this. And okay, could they keep JJ and Sam? They could. They absolutely could. I mean, JJ's on a cheaper contract. You know, he's number 12 pick overall. I mean, it's still probably 25 million or whatever it is over 5 seasons or 4 seasons. But they get that 5th-year option on him. And Sam Darnold, I mean, he's going to command a $50 million contract. You watch. He's going to get paid by somebody. Someone is going to pay this dude. Could be the Browns. Who knows? Could be the Browns. Maybe the Browns keep Jameis Winston around. I don't know.
They said that J.J. McCarthy, his contract over the length of his contract right now averages out to about $10 million a year.
He got $50 million? Yeah. How would he get $50 million?
I don't know. He's a 1st-round pick. They said it averages out to about $10 million a year over the 5 years.
That doesn't make any sense.
I thought that's what they said on Eisen.
No, here you go. It's an average annual of 5.5 million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 21.85 million fully guaranteed. So, yeah, I thought that would be kind of crazy because remember they're all slotted, right? The contracts are all slotted. There's a number for each pick.
Yeah.
And then teams can negotiate from there. But all right, so what do you have on over under reactions for us today, Eric?
All right. Are you ready for this?
Maybe.
All right. My first one. Zadarius Smith will get 4 sacks over the next 4 games.
Zadarius Smith to get 4 more sacks. So I said that Zadarius Smith would get at least 5 this season with the Lions. That was my call. I said there's no reason why I don't see him getting five sacks, which would put him into double digits for the year. And now watching the way that he's played and giving the health of this team here in just a few weeks, you think it's only 4? So what, a sack a game?
Yep.
I think he can do it. Matter of fact, I'm going to say that he's still going to get 5 more for this season. So I'd say that's an underreaction. I think that Zadarius Smith each week is getting a little bit better as time goes on. Now he's got some good matchups coming. You know, the Bills are going to be a tough test, but I don't necessarily feel like it's going to be a tough test for Zadarius Smith. But we'll get into that more Thursday-ish when I break down offense, defense, and talk about, you know, their weaknesses and what's going on there. So I'm gonna go underreaction on that one.
All right. Me as well. And I think that he might push 6 sacks. Ooh. And I'm not sure where he's at so far on the season, but he's come in and been nothing but a pleasure to have on this team so far. He basically is getting a sack a game. And I hope that he does more containment against Josh Allen, because I think Josh Allen, the Rams, that was their problem. They were just trying to sack him the whole game, and they had 0 sacks against him. So he was running all over the place, had these big, huge gaping holes. I want everybody to just stay home. Put pressure on him, but everybody stay home against Josh Allen, please.
I think that is a valiant call, because it's exactly what needs to happen. Just shut down the run, shut down Allen, make him beat you with his arm, which he has an incredible arm. But I think that we have a better chance of beating the Bills from that scenario. Absolutely.
All right. Next one. Jared Goff will have more passing yards than Mr. MVP Josh Allen this week.
One more time.
Jared Goff will have more passing yards than Mr. MVP Josh Allen this week.
Oh, just this week.
Yep. Head to head.
Oh, hold on here. Hold on. I got to look something up to be able to answer this one. See, I don't know. Look, and I hate to get into all of the all of the stats this week, but I will say this: the Bills' defense is not that great right now. They got a good defensive front, but they just haven't been that great at stopping the run. So I mean, kind of yes, kind of no, but I just don't feel like this is a game where Jared Goff is going to have to throw it a ton, unless it turns into both defenses just lay down and it turns into a shootout. The over-under on this game is 54. So they're expecting some sort of points to be scored, right? Man, these teams are so close. So close. I'm going to go ahead and give the edge to Jared Goff. I'm going to do that. Jared Goff. I'll go with that. He will.
I am in the same boat. I think that Jared Goff is going to have to throw a little bit in this game, even though I think we are going to try to establish the run the most, but I think that is what is going to open up our passing game, is where you're going to have success with the run game in the beginning of the game, and it's going to help open up the pass. And I think that J-Mo and Amon-Ra are going to have some big games this weekend. All right. My next one. Coach of the year. Dan Campbell will win Coach of the Year.
I'm going to go on the underreaction on this one, but you know what?
Well, I'm going to tell you.
That's the fan in me saying that he should win it. But
Okay.
at the same time, I feel like the damn Vikings coach is probably going to win it for some reason.
All right. So I got a little information for you. So currently, Dan Campbell to win Coach of the Year in Vegas is minus 175. Kevin O'Connell is plus 400. And Tomlin for the Steelers is plus 500. That's the three leading candidates this year for Coach of the Year. And right now, Dan Campbell is in a commanding lead to win Coach of the Year.
Well, I'm curious because on Vegas Insider, it doesn't show that.
Really? This is according to DraftKings today.
So I don't know when this was printed. I think that this is updated daily. No, I'm sorry. At the beginning of the season, it had Dan Campbell at plus 600. And it had Dan Quinn at plus 180. It had Kevin O'Connell at plus 500. So I don't know, man. I think that there's even an area where Mike Tomlin gets into this race. 18 seasons without a losing season. It's insanity that he's been able to do that. And I don't know where he is. Where's Mike Tomlin on the list?
He is third at plus 500.
Yeah, see? I don't know, man. I think it's a toss-up right now. I think that we got to get through week 17 before we really know what's going to happen. And then if it's all knotted up, then I think it's going to be between who wins the week 18 game.
Yeah, we need Dan Campbell to win Coach of the Year, so I win $825.
Well, there you go.
All right, so now I have an interesting one for you. Caleb Williams is having a better season than Jordan Love.
I don't know their stats right away, so...
All right, so I'll give you a little bit, okay? So right now, completions. Jordan Love has 206. Caleb Williams has 270. Jordan Love has 328 attempts. Caleb Williams has 434.
So that was going to be my question, but what is this completion percentage? So Caleb Williams is a 62% completion percentage.
And what is Jordan Love?
62.8.
Yes, they're very, very similar. Their yardage is very similar. It's very, very close. And Caleb Williams has less interceptions than Jordan Love.
He has less touchdowns too. So 16-5
Yes.
for Caleb, and then 21-11 for Jordan Love. So I mean, I would need to do the math to know what the percentage is, touchdown ratio.
But then if you look at their rushing, okay, Jordan Love has 71 yards rushing. Caleb Williams has 405 yards rushing.
Well, I think Jordan's more of a. I mean, he's a dual threat, right? But I would say he's a mobile quarterback. I wouldn't even put him in the dual threat category. He's a mobile quarterback.
Yeah.
I think that Jordan Love wants to be more of a pocket passer that has to use his legs when he has to. And I think that that's Caleb Williams will get there at some point. If he lasts long enough in the league, he's going to have to learn not to use his legs. And that's last resort. So if you're scheming an offense to force your quarterback to run the football and you're utilizing that as a scheme, then Caleb's going to have more yards. But they're not scheming Jordan Love to run the football. They're scheming Jordan Love to pass the ball and then hand it off. So I don't know, man. I would say that they're pretty neck and neck when you really look at the nitty gritty of both of their statistical alignment here. They're fairly neck and neck. The fact that Caleb Williams is doing this as a rookie. The other thing I would say is when you look at the record, though, Caleb's been playing from behind and you're getting a lot of garbage yards. So look at what happened in the Lions game. We had a lot of players get injured. Had those players not been injured, Caleb wouldn't have had that day. And I hate to blame injuries, but we lost 4 pillars on this defense. And that's a big loss for any team to still try to manufacture pressure and, get after the quarterback. So No, I'm still going to give it to Jordan. I think that Caleb has been playing from behind, and defenses have been kind of put into that bend but don't break, which is allowing Caleb to kind of rack up some yards. Stat padding, if you will. So I'll give it to Jordan right now.
I'm going to say that Caleb Williams got to play against our starters until they went out in the game. Jordan Love got to play against our practice squad.
Yeah, but Caleb also went against our practice squad. We had a lot of guys out during that game.
But Jordan Love got to go against our practice squad the entire game.
It's true. And he put up points. He put up points. I mean, that was a tight game.
He didn't have 3 touchdowns like Caleb Williams did against us.
No, but he moved that team up and down the field, man. A couple of 50-yard bombs to Watson or whatever happened in that game. I know there's at least one. He put up some points. He put up some yards. I don't know. So Caleb wasn't able to do anything until our start. Some of our starters went out.
Yeah. So that was just my interesting. I wanted to throw one of those in there today. All right. My last one. The Detroit Lions can go from 0-16 to 16-1 this season.
Ooh. Yeah, they can. I mean, I said that the Lions were going to be 14-1 at week 15 when we did our preseason show.
Yep.
One of those preseason calls, that we did. And I still believe that they can. There's no reason why they can't. I think that the Buffalo game, even though it's like the most evenly matched game that I've seen, about to happen this season, I still think that there's no reason why the Lions lose this game. And, again, I'll speak to the health of the team. We have to get healthy in a hurry. If we don't get some guys back this week, it is going to make it incredibly difficult to win this game. But I'm still not going to count us out, just like Dan Campbell is never going to count this team out. He doesn't care who's up. They're all going to have to go in and play a damn good game. And he's expecting them to win and win at their one-on-ones. So, yeah, I think the Lions can do it. I absolutely do. Will they? We'll find out.
All right. You want to do one more?
Sure.
All right. The Detroit Lions will have 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers get 1,000 yards this season.
2 running backs and 2 wide receivers to get 1,000 yards this season.
Yeah. So you have Gibbs, Monty. Gibbs already has 1,000. Monty needs 229 yards. That's 57 per game over 4 games. St. Brown needs 137 yards.
Well, Saint will get it. Saint will get it for sure.
34 a game. And JMO, surprise, surprise, needs 290 yards. That's 72 per game. So he needs 1 or 2 big games, and he can break 1,000.
So you're talking 1,000 overall, or 1,000 by rushing and 1,000 by receiving?
By receiving. Yep.
Well, I think 1,000 overall that will definitely happen.
So 2,000 yard rushers and 2,000 yard receivers.
I think we'll have 2,000 yard rushers. Monroe St. Brown will hit 1,000. Jameson Williams, if you remember my call from the beginning of the season, I thought it was going to be 80 and 800.
Mm-hmm.
So 80 balls, 800 yards. But he's doubled me up here because he has 39 receptions on 710 yards. He hasn't needed the extra receptions. He didn't care about receptions. If you remember what Jamal said in the beginning of the season, he's like, I don't care about receptions. I care about yards and touchdowns. And he thought that he was going to have the most yards and the most touchdowns. I mean, had he not been suspended, probably could have been more likely. The dude's averaging 18.2 yards per catch. So I think that there's a possibility there. I think it's a big stretch for JMO to manufacture, was it 72 yards a game?
Yep.
I think that's going to be tough, but if you kind of look at what he's done in the majority of his games, I think it's possible.
Mm-hmm. That's just about his average.
I'm going to go with the possible this morning that, yes, I think it could happen. I think it could. I'm not saying it will. I think it could. I don't think it's necessarily an overreaction. I'm kind of splitting the baby. I'm right in the middle that it's possible. I know it's not allowed, but that's where I'm at.
I wish there was a bet because I would make the bet.
You could probably manufacture one somewhere. I don't know, Mr. Thomas, why that's funny to you. Maybe your head's in the gutter this morning. It says 80 balls. Why is that funny to me?
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know. Nick P says if Jamo wasn't suspended, I think he would be the leading wide receiver for the Lions or for the NFL. I don't think the NFL.
For the Lions, yes.
For the Lions, probably could have been for sure. Bobu says Detroit Lions are home of the 1,000-yard club. So we did it last year, right? We had 4 guys that reached 1,000 yards, and that's kind of what I said this season before the season started. Is that I then expected again that we would have 4 guys that would be leading this offense. I expected Sam Laporta to be a bigger part of that equation, and he just hasn't been. But I like where Sam is now starting to kind of turn it on, right? The juices are starting to flow with Sam Laporta, and I think that as the season wanes on, he's going to continue to get better and better and better. He was banged up for the majority, I'd say the first third of the season. He's been banged up. And then with the schemes that the Lions have had to dial up with, some of these matchups, Sam just wasn't used as much. So I think that as we get into these next few games, I think that Sam Laporta is going to be a bigger piece of this chess match. He'll be more involved. That could be what limits Jamo, but maybe not. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, so to finish off now, we'll start with some more Lions news, or finish off this first hour. We'll finish with some Lions news. So blackout in the Motor City. Now, we knew this was happening because, as you guys remember, Eric and I bought these, these packs of pins, and they kind of give the secret away. When you look at the pins, they kind of give you, the what's going to happen. So if you look at the Buffalo Bills pin, if you can see that, it's blacked out. And you got a black lion. That kind of gave us the answer from the beginning of the year that it was going to be black jerseys. And then again, if you look at week 18, where is it? Let's see if I can, there you go. Week 18 is also got a black lion, and there's more black on the pin. That is a terrible, my camera's not adjusting. There could be a possibility that we're back in black in week 18.
Yes, because we didn't wear our throwbacks on Thanksgiving. So we're allowed to wear them one extra time.
Now, I don't know if they can wear these blacks in the playoffs. I don't know if that's a thing.
Playoffs are different.
Well, I don't know if it matters what they do in the regular season or not. So if someone wants to research that, that'd be great to know.
I'm pretty sure they're allowed to wear whatever uniform they want as long as it's the opposite. You know what I mean? As long as they're not wearing, they're not wearing white, and say Dallas is at home wearing white, they would get the. Well,
I'm expecting that we're going to be at home and we're probably going to wear blue the majority of the time. Now we might actually go blue with silver pants. I would like to see the blue with black pants.
The team already said that the players get to vote on what pants they get to wear, and they have voted for all solid colors all year long.
Really?
So whatever jersey they're wearing, they're going to wear solid pants with it all year long.
So they're going to match.
Yeah, Alex Anzalone said it earlier in the season because he's on the committee or whatever, and he heads that committee. And he said, "Yep, we're wearing all the same colored pants all year."
Well, I missed that, but I would have loved to have seen the blue jersey with some black pants and that blue and black helmet. I think that looked fire.
I want to see all blue with that blue helmet. Man, that would look so good.
Yeah, it would. Maybe next year. Next year
we can.
So the Lions are preparing, obviously, to bring back their alternate Motor City muscle black uniforms with a blackout theme at Ford Field. If you guys remember, when we had the first blackout game, or the first game that we wore the black jerseys, I was trying to get everybody to do a blackout theme. Matter of fact, that's when I did the blackout Aiden Hutchinson jacket for the raffle, which Eric won, and he received it last week.
Yeah, I was wearing it yesterday.
I thought you were. I forgot to ask you. So we just got to black it out this week. And then this is a question. Now, I mean this with all due respect, okay? This is a tough question for me to ask, but you guys know me. You know that I wouldn't do anything suspect, but I've planned a costume for this game really, it's not a costume. I mean, it's the black jersey, which, of course, I got my black jersey on today. I wanted to paint my face half black and half blue for this game. But then someone said, "Will, are you sure you want to do that because of the stereotype and everything with blackface?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, I should probably ask what people think about that, because I would never want to do anything that disrespects anybody, period. And even though I know it's just a costume, I don't think that I want to step into that pile and get in trouble." So that's my question to you. Would that be a problem? Do you think that that would be an issue? I don't want it to be. I don't want to get canceled. You know, I got a cancer foundation that, you know, I'm involved in good, positive things. I just don't want to see anything bad happen. So that's why I'm putting it out here and I'm talking about it publicly, so you guys know about it before if I do something, because it would be half black, half blue. I usually do blue and silver. This last game I did all blue, and I kind of did it at the last minute because it was freezing cold outside. But this week I want to make sure that I do it right and we get the full face done, the half and half like I normally do. So I don't know, just a question that I thought I'd ask.
My suggestion would be to do half blue, half black, but then on the black side, do a blue streak like Hutchinson does.
Yep. I think that's what I would do. I like that idea.
Yep.
I like that idea. And then I always do like the white or the silver or some other color that goes right down the middle. This last game, it was just kind of a rush. Didn't look good. Didn't look normal.
Or
but
do
anyway,
black and blue stripes.
It'll be fun. I think it'd be fun. It'd be a good costume. I just need to get something that lights up now for the hat. So,
speaking of that, so this is the last thing I'm going to say about that Green Bay game. I spent hours, literally hours, and a bunch of money upgrading my cheese grater hat with LED lights. And I put all the pins from all the games I went to all season long on the front of the cheese grater. And then all the cheese grater holes all had LEDs in them, all individually controlled. And I had a remote for it and everything. You just turn it on and it was awesome. And I left it on my kitchen table and went to the game.
I was wondering why you didn't have it on, but you know, when I read the rules for the stadium, I don't know if you've ever read the rules, but it says in there that we can't have anything with glitter. We can't have anything that lights up. We can't have anything that makes artificial noise. But then I see all these people showing up in all these wild costumes.
Yeah.
And noise breaks the rules and nobody does anything about it. So
there were so many people with kazoos and little trumpets and all this stuff. I was like, I'm bringing mine to the next game then.
Yeah, I'm in an area where I think I'll be seen more, but
I'm going to be right behind the Lions bench.
Yes. Where are you at?
108.
So you're right down the road from me.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. Casey's going to show up to this game. I finally get to meet him. He's sitting right behind me. He texted me last night. He's sitting right behind me in like two rows. That's going to be fun to finally get to meet somebody and then get to party throughout the game with him.
Trace is at it again.
Oh, Trace, there you go again. If you guys don't know by now, Trace is one of the biggest donors to this channel and the Rocked On Cancer Foundation. She just gifted another 10 memberships. Rob Newsom, I think yesterday, said that he didn't get one and he got one today. So there you go. Trace, big shout out to you again for supporting the channel. You've been absolutely amazing this season. Let's give you the Meek missile hit. I love this hit.
On 3rd and 14, Jones has got it, setting up a screen, and it's blown up. Oh, my goodness. Amik Robertson just sent ETN back to Jacksonville.
So just like Trace, man, she's blowing up the memberships this year. Amik Robertson, the missile, is also blowing up players on the sideline. So injury updates. Yesterday we had a good video talking about what's coming up for the Lions, and I think it's a good opportunity now to discuss the health of this team and where are we going. What's going to be happening over the next several weeks, right? First and foremost, the list of injured players is very long, right? We have 18 players on IR. We have a few others who have missed, last Thursday night's game against Green Bay. And a look ahead at the next game versus the Bills, Dan Campbell was asked yesterday during the press conference what he thinks is kind of on the cusp here for the horizon of this team. And here's his quote. He said, "I don't know. I know this. Every one of our guys, it's much more positive. Everyone is healing up. We're better than we were last week. I just don't know yet how many we'll get back. And honestly, I might not know until Thursday of this week just exactly where we are at. I'm feeling better about Taylor Decker, but yet I need to see. And the D-line is in flux. There's a chance that Levi could be back. Ali McNeil, Max got to pass protocol and everything. And he did not take a step back. So as long as he can clear, that sounds positive. But it's going to take time to figure some of this out. So to break that down a little bit, we know that it's going to take at least till Thursday before we know more. But the good news is everybody's trending in the right direction, with some of the players that we lost, over the last couple of weeks. Levi Onwuzurike, Josh Pascal, Ali McNeil. Those are the guys that we need to get back in a hurry. Now, Josh Pascal was not mentioned yesterday. So I think that we can kind of just lump him into that same category, that there's an opportunity that he could play versus the Bills, but at the same time, there's an opportunity that he may not. So 50-50 on whether or not he's going to be able to come back. Now, as far as Ennis Rakestraw and Melifonwu, next week is their 4-week period. So it is up for them. Their IR period is up, after 4 weeks. Then the Lions can finally reactivate some of these guys, get their window open, and get them practicing. The bigger news was that Alex Anzalone, or Anzalone, however you guys want to pronounce it, he is on pace to return. And it sounds like the last game of the season is a real possibility. Now, Dallas Goedert last year returned after 5 weeks with a brace on. That would put Alex back at the 49ers game, which would be huge. But the way that Dan said it yesterday, it sounds like it's the last game, week 18, or possibly the first playoff game. So if we think about that for a moment, what does that really mean for the Lions? They would have to activate Anzalone probably week 17 to get him up, or even before that. They could activate him week 16 to try to get him up before week 18. Give him a couple of weeks of practice. So he could legit have a couple of weeks of practice and then have a bye week if we get the 1 seed. Alex will be healthy for playoffs at a minimum. So imagine for a moment, I'm going to highlight someone's comment this morning. Imagine for a minute that the core of the defense has fresh legs. Alex is already all over the place. The guy runs sideline to sideline every single game making plays. Now he's going to be healthy with fresh legs. He's going to be right where he was in the beginning of the season as far as health-wise. And he'll probably still have a brace on. So there's no real worry about him re-injuring, which is much different than Aiden Hutchinson. So Aiden Hutchinson, that's a totally different story. And Dan yesterday wanted to reiterate the fact that he can't give anybody a timeline about where Aiden is. And matter of fact, he had this quote based on, he was asked about the DeGlazier report. And this is what he said. Honestly, I'm where I was when the injury happened. And that's always just saying, look, this is a tough injury. It is. But I would just never count him out just knowing who he is. And he's working. He is progressing. But I can't say, and I can't give you a timeline. And I don't know if he'll have the time to get there. But if anyone could, it's him. Now, to follow that up with another quote, Dan Campbell also said, and I'm going to paraphrase here, that it's about practice. If Aiden can't get back with enough time to practice, is not going to happen. And that's what I said 2 days ago. This isn't so much about the weeks of time away from the game. It's practice. Because if he can't get in and help this team and reacclimate to football, right? Harden his body again, he's not going to help this team. If anything, he would be a liability. And I know that's tough words to say about Aiden, but I'm being realistic here. These are professional athletes. If you're only 70% of yourself and you're going up against somebody that's 90% now, throughout the season, they're going to lose, some steam, right? They're all banged up. Aiden's not going to win. He's not going to win his one-on-ones then. he may not have the confidence yet, which we have to remember that a lot of this is mental, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a positive way, that this game, you have to be in the right mental space. And if he's worried at all that he's going to re-injure himself, he's not going to play well. If he's too much in his head, it's going to show up on the field. So it's about practice, right? We're talking about practice, right? Whatever that guy says. It's about practice. Or he's playoffs, talk about playoffs. It's about practice. So who was that? There was Allen Iverson was talking about practice, right? I think that was the quote. So that's kind of where we are. Aiden is running, Mr. Thomas, but he's underwater, right? The water's up to his chest, almost to his shoulders. So it's not really running. He's floating, if you will. He's swimming, kind of, if you will. And then his feet hit a treadmill, and he's kind of running. But you're talking 30, 40, 50 pounds of weight on his lower half. It's just not, I don't think it's enough to be excited about. It's exciting to see him doing those things. I've done the same kind of training after my back injury, and I know what it's all about. It's just, there's not much to it. Now, when they bring the water down and he's down to his waist, that's when you start to realize, okay, he's really making some headway here, because that's going to be about half your body weight, which Aiden's about 270. So that'd be about 135 pounds. And then when you get down to the knees, then it's time to get excited. Really get excited when he gets out of the pool. As far as Ennis Rakestraw and Iffy Melifonwu, like I said, it's their 4-week period is up next week, and they're going to talk about that next week, him and Brad, as to where that's going to go. As far as Jalen Reeves-Maben and Khalif Raymond, Dan had said that Khalif Raymond and Anzalone were kind of on that same path. So what I just said about Anzalone, you can kind of check that same box for Khalif. Khalif is huge for playoffs. We need him back. He was breaking an NFL record. I think it was 190 punt return yards that he already racked up. So he was like 5th in NFL history or something like that. It's a number that I threw out the other day. But Jalen Reeves-Maben is the one that has been slow going, and he just has really no clue right now if Maben's going to make it back. But I'm going to throw a cog in this, Eric, and I want to get your idea here. We brought in Quan Alexander. We brought in Jamal Adams. And both of those guys played really well. We brought in Jonah Williams and Miles Adams. But Quan played really well. And you give him week by week by week in this defense, he is a huge upgrade over some of those linebackers already. Just based on what he's done in the league, his knowledge of the game. He's a vet. He's smart. He's been there, done it. Do you think, maybe this should have been an over-under reaction, that Maben, if he's healthy, would replace a Quan Alexander? Because I don't think so.
Well, you have to remember, Jalen Reeves-Maben was an all-pro last year. And it wasn't for linebacker, it was for special teams. So I think there's a place for both of them on the team, and they may squeeze someone else out and may relegate Reeves-Maben back to more of a special teams role, where Quan Alexander is more of a linebacker. He's faster. He just moves different than Jalen Reeves-Maben does. Jalen Reeves-Maben, sometimes he's a missile and puts his head in there, and that's why he got the neck injury. But on special teams, he's just a demon. He's like a special teams ace. He's got something for sniffing out that punt returner or kick returner, and he can get around people, and he is a secret weapon for our special teams. So I don't see us ever, well, I can't say ever, but I don't see them this year moving Jalen Reeves-Maben off the depth chart or anything. I think that he would be more of a special teams player, but he definitely has a place as a backup linebacker. Quan Alexander might take that starting spot that was left by Rodrigo.
I would say if there's room on the roster, yeah, it would make sense to get Maben back. I just don't think there's going to be room on the roster, to be honest with you.
Holy $20 super chat.
Oh, hey, Jody Carruthers just dropped $20 in the super chat, says, thanks, Will and Eric, for all that you do. No, Jody, thank you for all that you do. Yeah. Showing up and listening or watching, these shows takes a commitment. And it's just as much of a commitment from you as it is from us. And of course, all of your hard work and your donations go to the Rocked On Cancer Foundation. So big ups to you, Jody. I really appreciate you and being part of change. We'll give you let's relive the Williams sacks for just a moment.
Williams takes, wants to throw, sets in the pocket, stepping up, going to get hit, going to go down. Sack back at the 35-yard line. DJ Reader was in there. Sack back at the 24-yard line. Al-Quadin Mohammed is going to get hit, going to go down. Sack back inside the 45-yard line. Zeke Turner got him. Williams going to get hit, going to go down. Sack back at the 41-yard line. Zadarius Smith got him.
So to finish out this Maben conversation, there's a couple of good comments here in the chat as well. One, Mike P says, don't forget that E. Turner plays Will Backer very well, and he has. He's been playing very well, and that's kind of where I'm going with this. I think that Maben is kind of getting edged out, I should say, by some of the players that are not only playing very well right now, that have been part of this team for the long haul, since Maben's been out, but some of the newer guys that have been brought in, I just feel like the roster is going to be too full. And with the guys, the way that they're playing, like, you don't want to just say, okay, we're bringing Maben back and we don't know what we got yet in him, but we're going to put you down on the practice squad, and then they disappear. So I think that this is a situation where you have to kind of go into the postseason with a hot hand. Does that make sense? You want to go in knowing that the guys that you have on this team that have been playing well are going to continue to do what they're doing. And you throw a guy in that has been missing for several weeks. When did Maben go out? I think it was it almost 10 weeks ago? No, I'm sorry.
No.
It was November 9th. November 9th, I think he was put on IR. He went out week 9 versus the Packers. So, he's missed, what, four games now? 5 games, whatever it's been.
Yeah, he's eligible to return now.
Yeah, he's eligible. He was eligible as of yesterday, I believe.
Yeah, but they haven't started his practice window as far as I know.
No, and they're not going to. I mean, it's still up in the air, according to Dan Campbell. Each day is just a different, it's a different experience. So,
and it's a neck, so your neck can be very finicky.
Oh yeah, I know. When I wear that big rise and grind chain, my surgically repaired cervical is extremely finicky, I guess, but it's just painful. I start getting stingers everywhere, but you know what? I do it all for the love of football. So we'll take the pain.
Yep.
Next up, the guy on the thumbnail this morning, we're going to talk about him right when we get back.
Every day, thousands of people are discovering Uper Lights, Michigan's newest, funnest rock to go find on the shores of the Great Lakes. Don't go out with just any light. Try the Convoy C8 from uperlights.com. It's guaranteed for life, and you'll find all the ones everyone else misses. Quality UV lights that are perfect for Uper Lights, with prices starting as low as $20. Please make sure to visit uperlights.com for all your UV flashlight needs, with the best guarantees on the market. Just what you wanted and not what you didn't. The best quality, the best guarantees, and the best UV flashlights from uperlights.com.
All right, and we're back. And don't forget to get your C3 mitts right now for your hunter and the family, or if you want a multi-mitt, these mitts have a little insert here to keep your hands very warm, but they are waterproof, they're tear-proof, water-resistant as well. But these multi-mitts by C3, they're going to give you the same comfort, the same control, and the confidence in the woods during your hunting season. You want to practice all summer with your bare hand, well, you're not gonna lose that with C3 mitts. You're gonna have that same confidence every time that you need to do what you need to do in the woods. So every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we are giving C3 mitts away. So make sure you join us on the morning show, where you will have your opportunity to get either a multi-mitt or one of the firearm or crossbow or bow mitts for you or your hunter this season. So c3mitts.com, get in the action today. Stay in the woods. Don't let the cold ruin your hunt.
Hey, Will, can you show me one of those multi-mitts? Do you have one with you?
Yeah, hold on.
We talked about them. I haven't seen one yet.
Yep, so here's one of the black ones.
All right.
All right, you got this little deal right here that you can clip onto your wrist. right? You can slide your hand in it, and that way when you got to pull it out, you can just, and then you don't lose it. But there's also a warmer in here. I wish I could flip it inside out, but there's a warmer, and you could also clip this anywhere. Belt loop, you're sitting at a game, clip it to your belt loop, put your hands at your sides, right? You can pull your hands out, slide your phone in here, keep it, dry. But there's this insert right here, and this insert holds one of those little hand warmers.
Hot hands, yeah.
Yeah, little hot hands. Or if you get one of the, those little, I don't think they're propane. I think they're
the little battery powered hand warmers.
Yeah, you got little battery powered ones. There's the little butane ones. You can probably slide those into. You hold them in your hand. You could probably slide that in there as well. But at least the hot hands, they know this has been tested for, that fit in here, keep you warm all day. All right, so Frank Ragnow. We have not given a ton of love to Frank Ragnow, but man, he came into this season, at least for the fans, with a lot of questions. Right? We didn't know, was Frank going to retire, over the offseason? Just how long was he going to continue to play? Was his health going to be able to hold up this season? And so far, he stayed pretty healthy. And he's just been battling in there. And this week, there was 5 questions with Frank Ragnow that was published this morning at 6 a.m. by Kyle Austin of MLive. So I caught it this morning when I got up and started doing my daily reading. And I just wanted to highlight it because I thought there's some good questions in here. And it talks about his personal life, talks about football. And so let's highlight Frank Ragnow as, clearly he's one of the pillars of this team. Big time leader, does a lot, for the Lions as far as, on and off the field. But in the game, there is not a smarter center in the game than Frank Ragnow. The way that he diagnoses defenses is bar none the best. Really helps Jared Goff and the rest of the offensive line do what they do. He is obviously the style of player in person that embodies what it is to be a Detroit Lion, and he's been one of the best in the NFL since he's entered the league. So the first question to Frank Ragnow was, you had some movement around you on the offensive line this season, with Kevin Zeitler joining the group and Graham Glasgow moving to the other guard position. What's the process like to build chemistry after that happens? That is such a great question. So his answer was lots of reps, training camp, practice. It's kind of an ongoing thing. No matter how long you play together, just understanding how each other are thinking in communication. For Graham, moving from one side to the other, I wouldn't say it was as big of a deal because we've played as, so much together. So we understand how each other thinks. And then with Zeitler coming in, I just got to understand how he sees the field, how he communicates, and then you just kind of slowly develop that chemistry. I really love his answer here because the same can be said to the defensive backs, where that is a position that is highly based on communication, but non-verbal communication. And where Ragnow says in here, he needs to know how Zeitler sees the field. Same thing for the defensive back room. You have to know how your chemistry chemistry is being built, but also how does each player see this field? What are they going to do? How are they going to read and react in knowing what they're going to do and identifying what they're going to do before it happens? So I thought this was just a great answer by Frank Ragnow. The second question, how much does having so many of the same coaches in the building year after year help with building that? And this is another great answer. He says, huge, 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 huge. Terminology-wise, conceptually, footwork-wise, what Hank preaches, having that each year. You can't say enough for that stuff. Again, I've been a huge supporter of the fact that we've had the same coaches. Not many teams are given the opportunity to do what the Lions are doing right now. 4 years, 4 seasons with pretty much the same coaches, but offense, defense, head coach, and a lot of positional coaches have remained the same. We've lost a couple, and a couple have passed on because they've made upgrades, but for the most part, they've had the same core group of coaches for 4 seasons now, and we've seen what has transpired now in 2024 and in 2023, a winning culture. The next question was, one of the things your coaches talk about a lot is your ability to read a defense. Where does that come from? I think he kind of gave the PC answer here, but he said, I would say it's probably just a lot of film study. understanding defensive coordinators and their histories as well. They are who they are, and they generally don't try to get too far away from that. Understanding their pedigree as far as well as watching film to get tips and cues to help everyone out around me. This is another great answer. He wants to understand who these coordinators are at a deeper level, not so much just watching the tape, but understanding who they are as people, their pedigree, their nuances. What do they do in given situations? How many times do they do it? Do they repeat things often? So he's taking it to a different level, kind of like a detective, right? He's trying to sniff out what these coaches are going to do on any given down and distance or time in the game. And look, there's not many guys that can do that. There's not many guys that can remember all of this stuff at a snap's moment. I mean, you're talking seconds that he's got to be able to put this stuff together and tell guys what they're doing. The next question. You've always been an avid outdoorsman. Are you still finding time to get out after becoming a father recently? And this is another great answer. He said, yeah, I still get out hunting every once in a while. I get out fishing, obviously not as much, but still my wife's an angel and it's important to me. So she lets me get out there. I think that probably all husbands and boyfriends out there have that same challenge, especially being a father, that you have duties at home first, but everyone needs a little bit of me time, and Frank is still getting his. And I love his channel. If you guys haven't watched his channel before, you got to check his channel out on YouTube. Last question. Any good fishing or hunting stories from this year? His answer, I've been deer hunting a lot and coming up empty-handed. So no good stories, but I'm going to keep fighting. Love the answer. Eric, what do you think about Frank Ragnow this season and the kind of the question and answers he went through that were posted this morning?
Great little article. And I think that the 4 years of having Hank Fraley and Ben Johnson together has created something very, very special. And I have a little tidbit about Frank Ragnow that some people may not know. Center Frank Ragnow checks in at number 2 in the NFL in rate of fewest blown blocks and pressures allowed. Only perennial Pro Bowler guard Brandon Scherf of the Jaguars tops Ragnow's 1.19% combined metric. The rate is best among centers, with Ragnow tied with Steelers rookie Zach Frazier. Ragnow has 1 blown block and 8 pressures allowed in 758 snaps. That's just incredible.
That's why he's one of the best to do it.
He is the best center in the NFL right now.
I love it. I absolutely love it, man. He's just been one of the pillars of this team. You know, when you look around this team, you can identify the pillars that are keeping this team together, that are putting this winning culture together, that have built the culture and the identity. And Frank is part of that. Dan Campbell refers to him and Decker as like the old guard, right? And the guys that came from the previous regime into this new culture and this new identity, the brand new Lions, and been a very big part of rebranding this team. So I'll be right back, Eric. So if you have anything you want to share for a moment, I got to get the pup out real quick.
So, like, in my opinion, Graham Glasgow has been our weakest link on the offensive line this year, and he's had a pretty decent year. And I don't know why the left guard position, when we had Jonah Jackson, same thing, that it seems to be our weakest position on the offensive line every year. Taylor Decker is pretty steady. Last game, this is something that got overlooked. Dan Skipper gave up 1 pressure in, I think, 54 or 48 pass blocking snaps last week. He gave up 1 pressure the whole game against the Packers. And at the end of the game, Dan Skipper's puking in a bucket, and Dan Campbell's giving away game balls and giving his speech, and Dan Skipper didn't get a game ball. What the perfect opportunity that would have been for Dan Campbell to walk over and give Dan Skipper a game ball while he was puking in a bucket and give him the game ball. and everybody goes speech, speech, speech. That would have been the most perfect opportunity for a game ball in the history of game balls for the Detroit Lions. That would have been absolutely fantastic. Yeah. And Nick P says the Lions have the best center, right guard, and right tackle in the NFL, and it's crazy. And they do. Zeitler has been Pro Bowl, absolutely amazing, coming in on a 1-year deal for cheap. We have to get him back for next year. And there was another surprise this week. So Kevin Zeitler had to go out for a series. And the person that came in was Christian Mahogany. It was not Awasika. It was not Nice. It was our rookie, Mahogany. So that gives me hope that Mahogany is maybe a little further ahead than I thought he was. I didn't think he would see the field at all this year after getting mono in the preseason and having to be out for so long. I just didn't think he'd be able to catch up and catch on to the NFL speed of the game, but it appears he has. So kudos to him and to Dan Skipper. Our backups are awesome.
Yeah, I would agree. Skip has been playing well. I didn't hear everything that you shared, but I heard about Skip.
I was just saying that what a perfect opportunity it would have been for Dan Campbell to hand the game ball to Dan Skipper while he's puking in a bucket, because he gave up one pressure in the entire game, and he deserved a game ball and he didn't get one. But what perfect opportunity would it have been for him to just walk over with the game ball and hand it to him while he's puking in a bucket?
My question is, why was he puking? Was he sick?
I just think he was. I think he had given his all, and he was so hyper motivated in that game and just exhausted, and he left it all on the field, and his lunch apparently gave it his all as well.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think most of us have been there. I've never puked before, during, or after a game, but I have, during or after a practice, where you're just kind of getting the crap kicked out of you. Yeah, I've been there. Definitely been there. And of course, if you're sick, I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Let me look at my notes here and see what we got left here. So Dan Campbell is talking about the defense being better this week against the Bills. And so let's talk about that for a minute. So Dan Campbell believes the Lions defense will be better against the Bills, even if they don't get any of their injured players back. Why is he right? Is the question. So everyone knows that the Lions has a ton of injuries right now, and they have 18 players on injured reserve. And there's been a lot of concern about how the Lions can overcome this. Last Thursday night, though, the Lions defense was able to come together and get things done, even while missing some players. Now, they let up the most points of the season. And you could say that some of that was due to, Dan Campbell's failed 4th and go at the 30-yard line at the end of the third quarter that resulted in a touchdown. You could say that, I don't even think they got points off of the interception. Maybe they got 3. I don't remember if they got a touchdown off of that or not. Do you remember?
I don't
think they did. I think they might have gotten a field goal, and that might have been it. So I don't know that you could really blame, Jared Goff for a bunch of points, right? We didn't have a bunch of fumbles or turnovers or anything. We had 1 interception, and they gave 1 up. So, the turnover differential was even for the day. But just where this team really stacks up has been the red zone. And the Lions offense, let me go back to this article. It says the Packers scored 31 points, but the Lions offense also set them up basically in the red zone on 2 of their touchdowns. Take those away, and the Packers didn't have a great night. So I firmly believe, I agree with this, and this is kind of what I said the night of in the post-game show, and a couple days after that, was that I felt that the Packers really didn't have a great game. If you take away that failed 4th and go and you take away that touchdown, it's a different game. It's a totally different game. But now thinking about the fact that there was 2 red zone opportunities that the Lions offense kind of put him in, or Dan Campbell kind of put him in, the Packers didn't have a great night. They completed 60% of their passes and went 1 for 5 on 3rd downs. So you're telling me that this ragtag bunch of guys that just got off of, practice squads, or Jamal coming from home, or snaked from other practice squads where Brad found him, comes in and forces Green Bay to go 1 for 5 on third downs? I mean, that's an incredible testament to what Aaron Glenn is able to do and how they're able to get the best out of these players. Now you've given them another 10 days. Another 10 days to get ready for the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills only have 7 days. Now they have a normal amount of time between the game, but the Lions get a few extra days here. So the Lions may get some guys back this week. They may not. And at this time, we're kind of waiting to see what Dan Campbell is going to tell us on Thursday. As he said yesterday, it's going to be Thursday before he really knows more. So regardless of whether or not the Lions can get any of their guys back, like Josh Pascal or Onwuzurike, Campbell also believes that this defense will have a better week on Sunday. And this is what he had to say. He said, defensively, it was okay. We got some new guys. Just give us everything you got and finish. That's the stipulation. So now we need to take it a step further. Okay, now that you guys are laying it on the line, you're finishing. Now we got to start getting the grasp of what we are doing defensively and take that next step. What he's talking about here is the scheme. So they probably gave these guys, which they spoke about it after the game, and I thought that they would. They just gave them a very vanilla playbook. Like, you're going to shoot this gap. You're going to rush the quarterback. You're going to drop into coverage and cover the tight end or whoever's sliding across. It's that simple, right? It's more difficult than that, but you know what I mean. And the detail part, Dan Campbell's quote, I'll continue. The detail part of this into where we don't have a few plays that hurt us. So our defense will, depending on who we have out there, we're going to be better than we were last week. I believe that. Whether we don't get anybody back or not, this will be another week in the system with, Jamal Adams, Miles Adams, Jonah Williams, and Quan Alexander. And so I know that they'll be better. And I firmly believe that. Why do I believe that? Because they've proven this week after week after week. Guys coming out, guys getting injured, guys coming in, and they don't let off. This has been the best defense I've ever seen by the Detroit Lions in my entire life. And we've seen so many different numbers and names enter this defense throughout the season. You wouldn't think it's possible. You couldn't do this on an offense. I don't think that you could do this. If we lost some players on this offense, it couldn't be replicated. But for some reason, Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn and Terrell Williams and the rest of that defensive group have just found ways to pull everything out of these guys and put it on the line. And I love it. And, I think, Eric, to be honest with you, I think where some of this is coming from is that these guys that are coming to the Lions, when Brad goes out and finds them, wherever they may be, one, they're so excited to be here. I mean, look at Z. Like, Z is just ear to ear, big smile all the time. Before the game, after the game, during the game, the guy is just a ball of energy. And so you have guys like that are willing to come in and mentor and be part of the solution, not the problem. And then you got these other guys coming in that maybe haven't had a whole lot of time playing with their respective team, former team, and now they're getting an opportunity. So their energy, their ether is high. Like, they want to play. But they know to stay, they got to play well. And so they're smart, they're doing all the right things, and it's showing up on film. So I'm loving it, man. I think that I agree here with Dan Campbell that, you give these guys another 10 days, not only are they going to get more of the scheme, but I think it's pretty easy to understand that time in a system equals an understanding. So I think the Lions are going to be much better defensively. And that's why I'm holding out hope that they're going to be able to contain Josh Allen this week. What do you think?
That's key. I think we need to contain Josh Allen. I don't think we need to sack him. We need to contain him. Similar to what they did in Houston. And then what was the game after? And similar to the Colts game. We're not after a million sacks. We need to contain the quarterback. Don't give him rushing lanes, because when you're trying to sack the quarterback and you get too deep, or you get too far into the pocket, you know, trying to push your guy right into the quarterback, what happens is it opens up a hole to your left or your right, and you're too engaged with this guy, and that quarterback goes zipping around you. And that's what we need to avoid, because in the Rams game, that's what was happening. They were dead set on getting sacks, and Josh Allen was just, okay, see you later. And it just opened up huge rushing lanes for him up the middle and to the side. We can't do that. We can't let Josh Allen run for 26 yards every 2-3 minutes during the second half of the game, because that's what happened the second half of that Rams game.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of great comments in here, a ton.
Yep.
There's quite a few in here, so let me go through a couple of them.
Well,
Number one, so
you asked a question earlier, and you said, how are AG and all these coaches getting this done?
Mhm.
AG went for a walkout in the woods, and he found this leather-bound magic book, and it had a bunch of spells in it. And seriously, that is how. And he's showing it to Brad and showing it to Dan, and they're all doing these incantations and that doing spells, and that's how they got all this done.
So it's the dark magic of Bill Belichick, huh?
Yeah. They found his book.
I thought maybe you just sent him some of these Uper lights, which, you know, these alien rocks that you're sending them that maybe have some sort of powers or something.
Flashlight. That's how we found the book back behind Bill Belichick's house. So
there you go. Yeah. There you go. That's funny. So Arf says, I like what I'm hearing, and I agree 100%. Look, I'm totally in bed with what the Lions are doing, man. They have found a way to win, and that's what's really going to suck next season is if we lose AG and we lose Ben Johnson, it's going to hurt. I think that whoever's, you know, waiting in the wings here is going to do a great job, and I think that it all starts from Dan Campbell. But it's going to hurt. I think there's going to be a noticeable difference at the start, but it'll smooth out. James Howarth says AG and Williams are coaching their butts off. Trace, love watching Z play. His energy is so awesome. And Derek Lewis, you can't over pursue Allen. Great point. Harpazzo, haven't heard anything about Mosley. Again, another guy that people expected to play. We haven't heard anything about him yet. They're drinking the Honolulu blue coffee, Will. That's what Trey said. They're drinking the coffee. I haven't sent them any yet, and I probably should. I should probably send them a little gift bag of stuff and see if they actually do something with it.
Hey,
I wouldn't
Will?
really go for it.
Ben Johnson has a couple of criteria if he's going to leave for another head coaching job. Okay. And his two criteria are this: organizational alignment and recognition from a team of its mistakes with a willingness to fix them. He will sell teams on his vision to see where they're willing to go all in on it. So he wants a team that is willing to admit their mistakes and show him that they can get past those mistakes. So
that's huge. And you know where I think that comes from? I wouldn't bet, or I wouldn't doubt, I would bet everything on this, that Ben probably went into his interviews last year.
Yep.
Like you said, he's going to give them his thoughts on the team, what he feels their mistakes are, identify it, and see if they agree, and see if they're willing to make changes, see if they own up to it, or are they just going to pass the buck?
Yep.
And that probably happened a few times. They probably just passed the buck and, I'm good then. But you know where I think it comes from? I think it comes from Sheila. I think that Sheila Hamp was very open and very direct with everybody and said, we've got issues and we need to fix these issues and we need to fix all of them. And I'm expecting each and every one of you from me down to come to me with the problems and let's find a solution. So I'm willing to bet that Sheila has totally reshaped the mindset of these guys to say, hey, look, there's more to this than just joining a team, installing my playbook, installing my intelligence. Like, we need it from top down. The owners have to accept responsibility. And if they're not willing to accept responsibility, then it's not going to work. You're not just going to come in and throw a new scheme at it and fix it. It is just not how it works. You may win a few extra games. You may make it into the postseason, but you're not going to build a team for the long term. You're not going to build what the Lions are, which is sustainability. I bet you that's where it comes from, because Sheila has been absolutely incredible. Is there an Owner of the Year award? Because she deserves something. Yeah. She absolutely does.
Sure does.
She's a huge reason why the Detroit Lions are so successful, and she's very competitive, very, very competitive. I read some really good things and did some and watched some videos of her, some interviews of her, and really enlightening stuff. Well, we'll have to highlight Sheila maybe this week if I can find those. We'll have to highlight, because it was really powerful stuff. Let's talk about the Bills and the Lions for just a moment. I'm not going to get too deep into the woods this morning about the matchup, but there was this article that popped out. I've never seen this thing before, but it says, Unstoppable Allen about to shatter the Lions' calm with powerful onslaught. Okay, what does that mean? It looks like it's some sort of a British article or UK article, something. Let me just read it for a moment. It says, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills may have suffered a heartbreaking loss against the Rams, but the resilience and firepower they displayed on the field have sent shockwaves through the NFL. Okay. Despite Allen's spectacular 6-touchdown performance, the Bills fell short in a 44-42 thriller, breaking their 7-game win streak. As the Lions stand at 12-1 with an impressive winning streak of their own, the upcoming matchup between these two powerhouse teams in Week 15 of the 2024 NFL season is bound to be a clash of the Titans. I agree. Now, in the aftermath of their loss, Josh Allen emphasized the importance of urgency and learning from the setbacks, stating, quote, "We got to come out with some urgency, though, and I don't think in any phase of the game did we do that today. We'll talk about it as a team and try to figure it out. Playing in a playoff atmosphere, a team that's playing like they're in the playoffs right now, and just again, trying to learn from this and move on," end quote. Now, this mindset sets the stage for a fierce battle between the Bills and the Lions. The unyielding spirit of Josh Allen. So despite the loss of the Rams, Josh Allen's exceptional performance has solidified his status as a top contender for the NFL MVP title. I agree. He's up there. With a remarkable display of skill and determination, Allen has led the Bills with unparalleled tenacity, showcasing his ability to elevate the team even in the face of adversity. As Deion Dawkins aptly put it, quote, "When Josh Allen is Josh Allen, everybody's better." With 6 touchdowns, it's incredible. That's hard in this league. And for Josh to continue to go in and out every week with the MVP mindset, that just shows you who our leader truly is, end quote. Now, I don't see where they really identified how the Bills are going to shatter the Lions this weekend. They talk about the Lions' undefeated streak and then the showdown. So as the Bills and Lions prepare to face off in Week 15, the stakes have never been higher. Both teams are fueled by a fierce competitive spirit and a relentless drive to emerge victorious. The clash between Allen's explosive offense and the Lions' resolute defense promises a showdown of epic proportions, destined to captivate football fans across the nation, with the outcome of this game likely to have far-reaching implications for playoff pictures. The intensity and drama of this matchup are set to reach unprecedented heights. Okay, they didn't describe anything. Maybe I should have read it beforehand, but they didn't describe a damn thing. Look, I don't think it's going to happen that they're just going to come in and have their way with us. I think it's going to be a very tough battle. It's going to be a game that's probably going to come down to the end. Here's a couple of my notes on this game so far. Number one, I said this at the beginning, but the Lions and the Bills are the most evenly matched teams of the season so far. And there's really nobody else that compares. Number two, the question is, are the Bills defense good enough to beat the Chiefs on the road? And the reason why I'm throwing that out there is because they're probably going to have to go on the road to beat the Chiefs to make it into the Super Bowl. So even if we get past the Bills this weekend, I'm wondering if they're going to be able to take that defense, which hasn't been great. I mean, they just allowed 44 points to the Rams, and go up and play the Chiefs. So I'm not so worried now that it's going to be a Bills and a Lions Super Bowl. It could if they outscore their opponents, but their defense hasn't been great. Number 3, the Bills have the second best point differential, best test for the Lions defense. So as we know, the Lions point differential is 183, plus 183. It's first in the league. The Bills is at plus 129. So there's still, almost a 60 point difference here. But this is the closest matchup we are going to have all season to what an offense can do. Number 4, the Bills are number 1 in turnover differential at plus 17. The Lions are plus 8. They're sitting at 7th. So this is, again, another tough test for Jared Goff. He's going to have to play clean football. Those were my notes for the game so far. Because like I said, I don't want to give a whole lot away of what we're going to talk about, between Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. In my opinion, this is probably the most epic matchup we're going to have all season. It's probably going to break, records again for the TV stations, just like we did last Thursday. What are your quick thoughts on, I guess, what I read, in that article and the few notes here about, point differential, turnover differential, their, Bills defense not really playing great right now?
Well, this is one thing I've been looking at. The Bills are at 10-3. The Chiefs are at 12-1. So that's a 2 full game lead that the Chiefs have over the Bills. Even though the Bills beat the Chiefs, that's still considered a game and a half. So they'd have to win 2 more games just to be even with them. And the Chiefs would have to lose 2 games. So I just don't see it in the rest of their games. I don't know who the Chiefs have left for the season here. Their schedule, let's see, at the Browns versus the Texans and at the Steelers. So, I think that the at the Steelers might be their hardest game for the Chiefs. And I just don't know if Buffalo can catch up, even if they do end up beating us. I just don't see where the Bills can have that home game versus the Chiefs. And the Chiefs and the Bills seem to play in the divisional round or the AFC championship game like almost every year for like the last 3-4 seasons. And it always seems the Chiefs have their number, and it's just that much harder if they have to go on the road to do it. So could you imagine
the refs have their number?
Just imagine us having to go on the road every year to go play Philly in the snow in January to try to win the NFC championship game, for the next 4 or 5 years. That would suck. I'd rather do it at Ford Field where we know we have the advantage. We have the home field. Our fans are there. You're going to be more comfortable, less chance of having noise affect the game. And I want it to be at home. So this one I had pegged at the very beginning of the year when we did our preseason picks and everything. I picked the Lions to beat the Bills. And in the very beginning of this season, it was Lions favored by 2 points. And that's before the season even started. And the over-under then was 50.5. And now it's up to 54.5. And I think Vegas got this one pretty darn close, trying to do that way back in August. And I had a score of 31-27 Lions over the Bills. And I'm going to stick to that 31-27 over the Bills. I think it's going to be something similar to that is what I'll pick on Friday.
Interesting. Well, we'll do our final picks, obviously, on Friday and kind of see where this shapes up. Because I have a feeling, Eric, that the injuries are going to have, I don't know how I say this. The injuries are probably going to change your mind a little bit, or at least I think they would.
Well, we haven't had an injury report yet. We'll get one today. And, DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil, who else? Paschal, Levi O, If any of those 4 can come back, it's huge.
Right.
Any of the 4 come back, that's huge for us.
So real quick, I want to throw something out there to everybody. So we planned to do some, I don't know if you want to call it Secret Santa stuff, but Rocked On Cancer Foundation with the coffee, the Honolulu Blue Brew coffee called Triumph is going to do something kind of cool. So for all of the purchases between now and next week, Monday, if you purchase a package of the coffee, there's going to be some random, now I've already got them packaged, so there's going to be some random tickets inside these bags, only one, for any jersey that you want from the Detroit Lions. So it doesn't matter, as long as the jersey's available, you'll be able to get it. So it'll be whether it's JMO or St. Brown or whomever. So there's going to be one random winner between now and next Monday, and the ticket's going to be in your bag. So when you get the bag and you open it up, and if there's a ticket inside it, then you won. So then you just got to email us at mailbag@rockdown.com. We're going to be doing stuff like that each week now. We're going to be sliding things in. Could be a mini helmet, that comes with the bag. So for $23, you get a chance at a $160 jersey. It's pretty unique, right?
Yep.
So get in there and buy it. I just posted it. It's pinned. If you want to support the Rocked On Cancer Foundation, get in there and buy your Triumph coffee by Honolulu Blue Brew. $23 right now for a bag. And like I said, there's going to be a limited amount. So there's 100 bags, and out of those 100 bags, there's one winner. So we're trying to raise a bunch of money for the Rocked On Cancer Foundation. We've got to get to 50K by next June. And another good news, another great news, actually. Last night, the Rocked On Cancer Foundation Fantasy League that has been donated by Jared Eisenlohr, we won. What was it? One. Hold on. We had Chase Brown going up against Joe Burrow, a kicker, and somebody else, but we won 145 to 141.
Oh wow.
It was our Chase Brown versus Burrow, Higgins, and Aubrey, and we had like a 25 point lead going into last night. Started the season 0-2 and came back and won the championship. So now we are into the $1 million championship round.
Oh, so you're in the playoffs now.
This was the playoffs, but now we're into the next round of the $1 million championship round. So I think there's a place now. So there's all the different leagues that the league winners are into this. So hopefully we can continue motoring forward. Now I got to say that I'm good with Jordan Love doing his thing. I need him to score as many points as possible, as long as it's keeping him out of the playoffs. I don't care, but I need him to score as many points as possible over the next few weeks. So
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I got a good little segue here. We Rocked On Detroit Lions had a little rise and grind fantasy football league, and we haven't really talked about it much this season, but the playoffs start this week. I was one of 4 teams that made it. And in number 1, Pete's Lion Pride. Number 2, Midwest Lion Pride. Number 3 was Lionheart. And number 4 was my team, Decker Reported. Okay. I need everyone who is a part of the Rocked On Fantasy League to get me your home address. I have a bunch of very awesome prizes for everyone, including some Detroit Lions $5 scratch off tickets. And depending on how you did this season, and if you beat me, you may get some extra tickets in your package that I'm going to send you. And I'm going to send you some stuff from the games that I got, some pins from the games. You could get a couple people are going to get pins, and you're going to get special prizes depending on how you did, and then how the playoffs play off in the next 2 weeks. The people who win the next 2 weeks are going to get prizes on top of what I'm sending already. So everyone in the league is going to get something really cool. Make sure you get me your address.
And on top of that, the league winner is going to get a trophy. that we've already had picked out. But once we get the winner, I'm going to send it to Eric. Eric's going to engrave it with his little laser engraver, and then it'll be resent back out to the winner. Who knows? It could just stay at Eric's house if he ends up winning.
Yeah, it might just stay at my house. So in all 3 of the leagues I'm in, I had winning records. And in 2 of my 3 leagues, I've made the playoffs. So I'm making money this year no matter what. I can't lose. So it's pretty awesome. This will be my 4th year in a row. And in the one league, if I win in my pay league, it'll be a 3-peat. So I'll be just like the Kansas City Chiefs and be the 3-time winner.
No. You're not going to be like the Kansas City Chiefs. They've only 2-peated. They are not going to 3-peat.
I'm attempting to do my 3-peat.
There you go. Because this is the Lions Super Bowl that we're talking about. So Lions Blood just popped in and said that teams are permitted to wear alternate jerseys once in the playoff games. And then I Googled it real quick, and it says teams can wear league-approved optional uniforms up to 3 games in the regular season, and that I couldn't find anything about the damn playoffs. So I don't know if we can or if we can't or not. But it says in the NFL, teams must wear their standard uniforms in the Super Bowl. So no matter what, they have to wear standard uniforms. So I don't know about playoffs yet. I hope that Lions Blood is right, because I would love to see these black unis in the playoffs. I think it'd be great, even though they probably won't do it. So let's finish off with the playoff predictor. We got about 19 minutes left, and then I got to scoot at 10 o'clock. So Here we go.
Yeah, I see the same thing on Google. Teams are only permitted to wear alternate jerseys once in playoff games, except the Super Bowl, where teams must wear their standard uniforms.
So let's start with week 15. Right now, you've got the Lions at 12-1, the Kansas City Chiefs at 12-1, Buffalo in the 2nd seed at 10-3, and your Philadelphia Eagles at 11-2. So the Eagles and the Vikings didn't help us out this weekend, but let's see if we can help out and predict here what's going to happen. So Rams at San Francisco. Look, the Rams, the way that they played last night, I'm going to go ahead and say, like I've been saying, they're going to beat San Fran. Baltimore will take care of New York, even though New York tends to play Baltimore really tough at home. I still think it's going to happen that Baltimore is just going to take care of New York. The Jets should beat up on the Jags. The Cowboys should beat up on the Panthers, but I'm going to take the Panthers. Washington should beat the Saints. Bengals should beat the Titans. I'm going to take the Browns over the Chiefs. I'm going to take the Texans over the Dolphins. I'm going to take the Broncos over the Colts. I've got no faith in the Cardinals right now. None. But I'm going to take them at home. I am going to take the Lions. I will take the Chargers. That's going to be a tough game versus the Bucs. I am going to take Pittsburgh on the road to beat Philly. I am going to take Seattle over Green Bay, even though I don't want to see Seattle in the playoffs. And I'm going to go ahead and say that the Vikings will probably take care of the Bears, even though that could be a game that the Bears drop. Or I'm sorry, that the Vikings drop. And the Raiders at home versus the Falcons. Look, I have no faith now in the Falcons. They just look terrible. The Raiders are going to upset the Falcons. So if that were to happen, nothing really changes a whole lot, except for the Bills will drop down to the 3rd seed. And the Seahawks will bounce up to the 3rd seed in the NFC. Week 16. Eric, Broncos or Chargers?
Broncos.
Texans or Chiefs?
Chiefs.
Chiefs at home?
Yep.
See, I think the Texans could beat them there, but Steelers or Ravens? It's home for the Ravens.
I'm gonna go Steelers.
Steelers, 2 in a row for
I think the Steelers are on a tear. They could win it all.
I'm going to take the Bills, and then I'm definitely going to take the Rams at the Jets. That is going to be a tough game outside. Matthew Stafford has played in plenty of cold games, but I think that that's going to be a game that they can win.
Jets are eliminated.
Yeah, they don't really care anymore.
Nope.
Eagles at Washington. I'm going to take Washington. It's going to be a tough game. New York at the Falcons. I'll take the Falcons. Panthers home against the Cardinals. I'm going to take the Cardinals, even though I don't like that matchup. Browns and the Bengals. I'm going to take the Bengals. Titans or Colts?
They're both eliminated. Doesn't matter.
We'll just take the Colts. Lions at the Bears. I'm going to go ahead and take the Lions for now. Seahawks and Vikings. I think the Seahawks got this game.
Like I was saying earlier, the Vikings have played all these wimpy, weak teams. Now they're going to play a divisional game this week against the Bears and then the Seahawks. They could drop 2 games.
Yeah, they could. So you go on Seahawks too?
Yeah.
Wow, that still has the Vikings in as a 5th seed. Dolphins or San Fran? We'll take the Dolphins here.
Yeah.
I got Tampa Bay over Dallas, and then I got Green Bay over the Saints. Watch out for the Saints, though. Yeah. You know, they got off to a hot start, and then they kind of fell apart.
Their quarterback just fell and broke his finger or some crap, too. So
how do you fall and break a finger?
Yeah, Derek Carr, he's out.
Well, it is what it is. He just can't stay healthy. All right, week 17. We've got Pittsburgh at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to go ahead and roll
home team.
I'm going to take the Titans over the Ravens, or the Texans over the Ravens.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to take Seahawks over the Bears. It's going to be a tough game.
I might take the Bears on that one. It's at home.
I don't know, though. I think the Seahawks have too good of a defense, and Caleb Williams is going to be under a lot of pressure in that game. I will take the Rams over the Cards. I will take the Chargers over the Pats. This is a tough game. Broncos or Bengals?
Oh, Broncos.
Really?
Broncos are freaking good this year. Bo Nix tearing it up.
They're good, but this is a home game, and Joe Burrow's, he's top 3 quarterback right now.
Yeah, but they go look at that Broncos defense. Their secondary is second to none.
Yeah, Patrick Surtain's no joke. All right, Bills are going to take care of the Jets. Can't imagine that they would drop that game. Of course, weather, plays a role in all of this. I'll take the Titans over the Jags. We'll take the Tampa Bay Bucks at home. I'm going to skip that game. We'll take the Saints. Why not? We'll take the Eagles. I don't think they're going to lose a game to the Cowboys. We will take the Dolphins over the Browns. Definitely going to roll with the Lions over San Francisco right now. But when you look at San Francisco and what they did this weekend, man, it still worries me a little bit.
I think our game all depends on what happens this week. If they lose this week, that basically eliminates them from playoffs, and then they'll play the Dolphins the following week, and the Dolphins will be on their playoff, edge of being eliminated. So they'll play them really hard. And if they drop the next 2 games and then play the Lions, they'll be out of playoff contention. They won't have much other than kind of a spoiler role, but we're already going to have something locked up. We're already in the playoffs. So
yeah, we just got to maintain now. We've got to maintain and keep moving the needle. So I'm going to take the Packers over the Vikings in week 17.
Oh, It's at home team.
Nope. I think that Packers defense is going to get after Sam Darnold.
I will never, ever in my life root for the Packers, no matter who they're playing.
I know you're not going to root for them, but let's be realistic here. Jared Goff had 2.24 seconds of time to throw against the Packers.
They have a defense.
Sam Darnold is nowhere near the type of quarterback that Jared Goff is. The difference is Sam Darnold has some feet.
Yep.
So I think Sam Darnold's going to find himself in trouble, and then he's going to get sacked probably 4 times in that game.
Sam Darnold has 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers. He's got Jordan Addison, who single-handedly won me 2 of my fantasy football leagues. And then he's got Justin Jefferson as well.
Yeah, but if you can't get the ball off, it doesn't matter who you have for wide receivers.
I guess.
All right, week 18. We'll take the Texans over the Titans. We got the Falcons over the Panthers at home. We'll take Bucks at home. We'll take LA at home. Bills on the road. Dolphins on the road. Ravens at home. Here we go again. Pittsburgh and Bengals. Another tough game. I guess we're going to take Pittsburgh at home.
Yeah.
Colts at home. Broncos at home. Beating up the Chiefs. We'll take the Chargers on the road. Washington on the road, Eagles at home, even though that's a game where they could drop. I'm not so sure about the Lions yet. We'll take Green Bay at home, San Francisco on the road.
You know what, though? That Green Bay Bears game for Green Bay is going to be their toughest game all season because the Bears have not beat the Packers for what? 13 tries, I believe it is.
Who hasn't beat the Packers?
The Bears. The Bears have not beat the Packers in 13 tries, I think it is. That's almost 7 seasons they have not beat the Packers. That is the one game. I don't care if the Bears don't win another game all season long. That is the one they're going to try to win more than any other game. That's their revenge game. That's their rivalry game. And even the Packers consider the Bears their biggest rival.
So I guess it's really going to depend on, I haven't analyzed how good is Caleb Williams outdoors yet in cold weather. So I don't know yet.
No.
But I know that Jordan Love has played in, or been around plenty of games so far in the cold.
Yeah.
And it's his home stadium.
Yeah, I don't think the conditions are going to play so much into it, as I think it's more of a rivalry thing. And how sweet would it be for the Bears to beat the Packers and either knock them out of the playoffs or put them in the lowest seed?
All right, so now I'm going to go back to week 15. So if I left that all the same, that's the Lions at 16-1. That's the best case scenario.
Yep.
And right now we've got the Eagles at 13-4. So if we look at how the Eagles got to 13-4, it's because we took the Pittsburgh Steelers in week 15. We took, where's the Eagles at?
I can't barely see that.
Can't see it? I made it as big as possible.
There it is. Well, yeah, but it's the top's not very bright.
I got you. So I took Washington in week 16. And then I took the Eagles in week 17, and then I took the Eagles in week 18. So let's go back and adjust these a little bit, starting with week 15. Let's just say the Eagles win at home. Well, that puts them at 14-3. Let's say the Lions drop to the Bills. Okay, that puts the Lions at 15-2. We automatically still have the 1 seed, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go find another Lions loss. Do we really think that we're going to lose against the Bears? Probably not. Do we think that we're going to lose against San Francisco? Let's just say that it happens.
I'll say this. In the beginning of the season, before we started, I did 15-2 for the Lions, and I had them losing to the 49ers.
Yeah, and I thought the 49ers would be one of the tough games. The Texans would be a tough game. And I'd have to go back and look. There was another one. That's how I got us to 14-3. Oh, the Cardinals I thought was going to be a tough game. All right, so now where was I? If I have us losing to San Francisco and have us losing to the Bills, which are the 2 toughest games on the schedule, and we win week 16 and we win week 18, we're 14-3. We're tied with the Eagles, but we still have the 1 seed.
Yep.
Okay, now let's say week 15, the Lions win against Buffalo, but in week 18, we lose to the Vikings. Okay, so this changed the other day. The other day when I did this, it had the Eagles as the 1 seed. So we're still 14-3, and we're still the 1 seed.
And what are the Vikings?
Vikings are the 5th seed, 13-4.
Oh, 13-4.
But now if we look at what did we select for the Vikings? So I had them winning week 15. I had them winning. I had them losing week.
Have them win that week and see what happens.
Which week?
Right there. The Seahawks
15?
game.
16.
Right there, the Seahawks game. Have them win that one.
Yeah, so they're 14-3.
And so are the Eagles, and so are we, but we still get the 1 seed.
Yeah. Now, what other games did we have the Vikings losing? We had them winning against week 15 against the Bears, week 16 against the Seahawks, week 17 against the Cowboys, and week 18 they beat the Lions. So if they win out and they finish 14-3, there's got to be a loss in there. Where's the loss?
I don't know.
Hold on. Right now they're 11-2.
Yep.
So where's the loss? Is this not adding? Because I've got them winning week 15. I've got them winning Week 16. I've got them losing week 17. There it is against Green Bay. We just need them to lose one game. So let's change this. Let's say they win week 17. We know if we win week 18 that we would automatically have the head-to-head. Let's say we lose week 18, they win week 17 against the Packers, but in week 16 they drop to the Seahawks. Then the Lions are still the 1 seed.
Yep.
Let's say they win against the Seahawks, which we won against the Seahawks, and they lose against the Bears. The Lions are still the 1 seed.
Yeah. If the Lions win 2 more games, they're basically a lock.
Yeah.
Just depending on which 2 games it is.
Well, right now I have the Lions losing to the Bills, and I have the Lions losing to the 49ers. Okay.
And if we were to lose, those are the 2 teams we would want to lose to.
Right.
We don't want to lose to the Vikings, and we don't want to lose to the Bears.
And I have us losing to the Vikings. So that's losing 3 games. So how is that not adding up? No, I got us winning against the Bills. There it is. Week 17, we'll lose to the 49ers. Week 16,
Yeah.
we're going to win against the Bears. Week 18, we're going to win. Yeah, it doesn't matter which games we lose or win, really.
No. So so when we're going to the playoffs, the relevant tiebreakers are head-to-head, and then best one in games played within the conference, and then best one loss tied percentage in common games, and then strength of victory in all games, and then strength of schedule in all games. So we need to just have a better record than everybody, and then we don't have to go to any tiebreakers. I don't want tiebreakers to come into it whatsoever. Just be better.
Looking at these remaining games, though, I mean, just look at the NFC North. So I'm looking at it right now. The NFC North, you've got the Vikings and the Bears in week 15. And then you have, where's the Packers? Where's the Packers? You got the Packers and the Hawks. And you got the Lions and the Bills. So you have an NFC North game in week 15. And then in week 16, you have Green Bay and the Saints. You have the Vikings at the Seahawks. And you got the Lions and the Bears. So you have an NFC North matchup in week 16. Week 17, you have another NFC North matchup with Green Bay and the Vikings. And then you have the Lions against San Fran. And you have the Bears against the Seahawks. So all of these games that could have really mattered head-to-head, the Lions have done a great job. So beating the Seahawks was huge. That was a huge win to start. What was that, week 3? Week 4? Week 3, week 4? It was huge that we won that game. And it's really set up the end of the season because you have the Bears, not that they matter. They take on the Seahawks in week 17, but the Vikings take out the Seahawks in week 16. That is a game that they're going to want to win. If they win that game, it does help them, but it may not be enough. It just may not be enough. Right now, I see, my prediction was the Lions are 14-3. Do I see us losing 2 games? Not really. Did I think that we could win out, be 15-1 or 14-1 by week 15? Yeah, I absolutely feel it's still possible. That's just 2 more wins. That's the Bills. And week 16, it would be the Bears. I mean, those are 2 games that are winnable. But this Bills game is going to be the toughest test that I think is going to give us an idea of what we're going up against in the playoffs. And I think that that's really going to give us a good match and a lot of tape to help us identify where we're weak at and where we can get better at. The only thing that I can hope and pray for is that we just don't suffer any more injuries. Knock on wood. We can't. We just can't. Big shout out to Ed O'Neill, $4.99 super chat. Thank you, by the way. He says, Minnesota needs us to have the same amount of losses as them for week 18 to matter. If we go to week 18 with 1 less loss, we secure the North week 17. Yeah. Week 17 is it. So, Eric, if you remember, I said that this was going to come down to like week 16 or 17. I thought Green Bay was going to keep it close. but it's been the Vikings that are keeping it close. And then Ed followed up with another $1.99 super chat. Says the Vikings lost to the Rams, which is also helping us. Yeah, exactly. Those are the two games that were huge for us. Our win against the Rams and our win against the Seahawks are helping us out right now. So way to take care of business.
Wouldn't it be funny if we get to week 18 and we have the exact same record? Well, not the exact same record. If the Vikings beating us in week 18 would give us the same record, but it doesn't matter because we've already locked up the division and we've already locked up the number 1 seed because of tiebreakers.
Yeah, I think that would be incredible. I mean, that would be the perfect way to go into week 18. So then here's the bigger question. I know I've heard other people say that the Lions won't rest any players. Why wouldn't you?
I don't think Dan would.
I think that he can't rest everybody.
Yeah.
But I think Hendon Hooker absolutely plays that entire game. There's no reason to risk Jared Goff for a playoff run. He's not going to get any better in week 18. Yeah. Give him a few weeks off to rest and recover. He'll be throwing every day. He'll be ready. You rest Amon-Ra St. Brown. You rest Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. You put in Craig Reynolds and Vaki. You put in Allen Robinson. Tim Patrick is going to have to play. Whoever else you have on the practice squad, they're going to have to get elevated if it's possible. Sometimes this stuff is not possible. You know what? That's another thing. If you really wanted to play, this is far reaching. This will be my last statement. Then we got to run. If you really wanted to play the game, let me think about this logistically here. Let's say you get the 1 seed. Everything is wrapped up by week 16. You could put a handful of guys on IR.
Jesus.
And you could have them come back in 4 weeks just before they have to play the divisional round. If you really wanted to do something stupid and protect your players, I don't think it's legal, right? I think that everyone would sniff it out. But if you really wanted to play the game, you could put a bunch of guys on IR, and then those are the guys that you're bringing back. But that would also mean, some guys won't be able to come back because only so many can. But at that point, I think you already know who's coming back.
Yeah, in the regular season, you can do 8 back from IR, but in the playoffs, it's unlimited.
Oh, there you go. So if you really wanted to screw with it, you could, because the only way you could protect these players and not put them on the practice squad or waive them or cut them or any of that, you'd have to be an injury designation. So I'm not saying that we would do that, but hey, if you can utilize all the rules to benefit you, and if you can bend all the rules to benefit you and it doesn't get you in trouble, do it. I mean, this is part of the game. You just got to be smarter than what the NFL rules are. So, all right, that's it for today. You guys have been wonderful. Appreciate you guys. We've already had a couple of orders for the coffee. Make sure you guys get your coffee. There's going to be some random tickets. Kind of like what do they call it? The golden ticket on that one movie from back in the day.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate
Factory. There you go.
Man.
You're gonna get your Willy Wonka ticket in the package. And then another thing I wanted to mention is the Win Big, Dream Big, Herman Moore. So Herman Moore has a Win Big, Dream Big. It's a 1970 Ford Mustang, badass Mustang. We have a 1971 Boss 351. So they're almost identical to this vehicle, but the Boss, there was only like 1,721 of them ever made. So anyway, check it out. Win Big, Dream Big. It's $10 to enter. Get your tickets. Support Herman Moore. It supports the Detroit Lions. And that's all for today. So thank you guys for being the best part of Rock On Detroit Lions. All the members, all the chat mods, everyone that shows up each and every day. You guys have been great. We can't thank you enough for supporting the channel, supporting Rock On Cancer Foundation. Let's continue to be the voice of change, and let's continue to support our Detroit Lions, man. This is going to be an incredible run, and I'm super excited to be part of it. Finally, we're all part of something great. So, Eric, have a great day, man. We'll catch you tomorrow on the Rise and Grind Morning Show.
The season is here, and you want the latest news and rumors on your Detroit Lions. Head to sportspider.com. That's sports, SPYDER.com, where you can get your Lions news and all your sports in one place. Man, this site is packed with your favorite podcasts, live news, articles from local writers, and insiders, all updating in real time. Not just the Lions, every major sports team, including MMA, UFC, and so much more. Don't want to waste time searching? Sign up for free. Create your ultimate sports news hub. You control what hits your feed at SportsSpider, your number one source for all your sports. Visit SportsSpider.com today, right after the show.
Every day, thousands of people are discovering Uper Lights, Michigan's newest, funnest rock to go find on the shores of the Great Lakes. Don't go out with just any light. Try the Convoy C8 from uperlights.com. It's guaranteed for life, and you'll find all the ones everyone else misses. Quality UV lights that are perfect for Uper Lights with prices starting as low as $20. Please make sure to visit uperlights.com for all your UV flashlight needs with the best guarantees on the market. Just what you wanted and not what you didn't. The best quality, the best guarantees, and the best UV flashlights from uperlights.com.